Debating Syria, it was clear that George Osborne thought that by sneaking a few lines out in the autumn statement in his speech, that he could announce the biggest shake-up in the funding of students and midwives since 1968, and he thought that nobody would notice. But we've called the government to account in Parliament, and today we're calling the government to account on the streets as well, and on Monday we'll take them to task in Parliament again to confront this government with the reality of what they're doing. The reason why I first took an interest in the funding of student nurses and midwives was because when I was first elected as a Member of Parliament in May, a student nurse came to see me. She'd wanted to be a nurse her entire life. She'd worked hard for it. She worked hard to get the good grades, and she got herself into King's College London to study nursing. There are lots of King's students here, I know. But she sat in front of me and she cried as she told me how hard it was for her to fund her way through university. Because unlike students like me who read history and worked in McDonald's and then at Comet, which doesn't even exist anymore, to fund our way through university, nurses are in a completely different bracket. Because unlike midwives, because unlike people like me who turn up for a lecture a week and moan about having to do an essay, you work on average over 2,300 hours more to make sure that you're equipped to support people in their hours of greatest triumph as they give birth, but also some of their darkest hours where they really need a supporting hand and someone to comfort them by their side. And the government just doesn't understand that not only would these proposals make the situation even worse for nurses and midwives, the situation as it is isn't good enough either. And there are already too many student nurses and too many student midwives and too many students generally that are struggling to cope with the rising costs of living and studying and working. And that's why we've got to take this government on. Because if these proposals go through, not only will students struggle with the money in their pocket, but nurses and midwives will struggle making ends meet when they've graduated, as they see their cost of and their income and the money in their pockets cut by up to £900 a year on average. We cannot allow this to happen. Nurses and midwives are the backbone of our NHS. This government should never be expecting to balance the books on their backs in the first place. And we've got to make sure that they hear our voices loud and clear. It's not just about the nurses and the midwives, it's about all of us up and down the country who are grateful for what you do, who are grateful for when you're there when we need you. And now the general public has to be there for you because you need us. Rest assured that MPs in the building just down the road, we will be there for you, we'll be fighting for you, and we're with you every step of the way.